So when I want to take a project from Pro Tools and put it into Logic, the first thing I need to do is make stems. And the stems, what it means is all the tracks are going to start and stop at the same place. And so I can just drag the audio into another DAW and it will just fit in there and no problems will happen. So what I did first was I put I put two memory locations in here, and you can see I'm actually going with an older version of this. There's no mixing in this at all. Nothing is broken out or anything like that. So what I'm doing is I put a memory location here at the beginning, right where the audio starts, right in here, and you can see I just put this one right here where the cymbal swell starts, and I put another one over here at the end after all the audio and the tracks are all finished. And what I'm going to do is I click on the first one, I hold down Shift and click the second one, and now you can see that across the top up here, this is all highlighted here. That's where we're going to be bouncing out. The next thing I do is I just go over here and I make sure all my tracks are selected. I click on the first one, I shift click the last one, and I just go here to any one of the tracks and I right click and I select bounce from in here. Right there, bounce. So I click on that, and now it gives me this little pop-up here. And the pop-up here just asks me, what is it that I want to bounce? How do I want to do this? So I'm going to turn off my volume and pan. That means if there's any volume automation or anything like that, it would be rendered into the track, which means that when I get it into Logic, it would have volume automation in there. I don't want to do that. I want to put volume automation in my track in Logic, so I'm going to turn these off. Same thing with panning. File type is WAV. I do not need to add MP3s. We got interleaved here, which means it's going to make a stereo file, which is what I want because Logic and Ableton Live, those programs do not deal with stereo files the same way that Pro Tools does. So if you have stereo left and right files, make sure they're interleaved. 24-bit, 44.1 sample rate. And then here I'm going to turn off Add to iTunes Library. Name prefix, this is going to be Rubadoo, whatever the name of the song is, or something that, like an abbreviation of the name or acronym of the name of the song, something that you know what it is, because this is going to put it before every single track. Make sure I have the offline button checked here, and right here where it says directory, I'm going to choose my directory. In this case, I put it in the bounced files folder, and I made a new folder in here called Rubadoo Stems. So I did that, and you can see I already had gone through this earlier today just to make sure everything would work smoothly. So I'm not going to hit bounce, I'm going to hit cancel. When you do hit bounce, it's going to take a little bit, and then what it does is it's going to put the files into your folder that you made. So I've got this folder right here, open this up, and now everything is set in here. And this Smart Tempo Multitrack Set 1, this is actually something that Logic made earlier. So I've got all this in here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close down Pro Tools. I no longer need Pro Tools open, so I'm going to quit it. I'm not going to save these changes because I don't need to save these changes. So I'm going to click no, and now here is my Logic session. So I've got my Logic session here, and I already dragged the files in here earlier, but all I did was I just highlighted everything, and I just went ahead and dragged them in over here. And when you drag them in, Logic gives you a couple of options. It says, how do you want to put them in? You can just select a new track per audio file, and it asks you, are you bringing in stems for a song? Like, are you bringing in the stems? It kind of knows, it wants to know what you're doing. And you just say yes, just say, yeah, I'm bringing in my stems for my song. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Can I delete you? There we go. All right, so now I've got all these stems in here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn my snap off, because the snap, this is not set to the tempo. It doesn't have a real good tempo going on in here, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to leave my snap turned off. And then what we're going to do is I just want to show you a couple of preferences that I want you to change in Logic. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my preferences here. And the preferences, if you want to know how to open up, just go into Logic Pro X, go to Preferences General, that opened these up here. What I'm going to do is, you can set up a couple of these however you want. You can see I have my startup action set to do nothing because I don't want it to open up my previous thing. I don't want it to open up a demo set or anything like that. I just want it to do nothing when I start Logic. How many backups are you going to save? I'm going to save 10 backups here. When opening a project, close current project, yes, definitely. Editing over here, this one's kind of important because you want to turn your tool, your main tool here, into kind of like the same thing as the Smart tool in Pro Tools. So what I'm going to do here is down here where it says Pointer tool and track provides Fade tool, click zones, turn that on. Marquee tool, click zones, turn that on. Quick swipe and take editing, click zones, turn that on. Or some of these might be on by default anyway, but just make sure all three of these are on. Right mouse button, I like to assign this to a tool. So when I'm doing quick edits and stuff, if I hold down, if I click on my right mouse button, I can assign it to a tool. But you can also have it open the shortcuts menu, various things like this. It's really up to you how you want to do that. Actually, you know what? I'll keep it on shortcuts menu. I'm sorry. That's something. I'm thinking about my command click tool. Cycle, loft, catch, fine, whatever, notifications. There's not a whole lot extra that I do in here. Make sure my output device and my input devices are set up correctly. My I/O buffer size is set here. One thing with this output and input devices, if you want to use multiple devices, you can use your Pro Tools aggregate I/O that you set up in your computer before. If you have multiple interfaces connected up and you already have that set up for Pro Tools, you can just go ahead and use that. Even though it says Pro Tools here, it's just an audio device that your computer sees, so it's not really particular for Pro Tools. I don't need to set that up though, so I'm not going to. Summing is, let's do high precision. Process buffer, all this stuff is normal. I/O buffer size, let's set that, I'm gonna set that for 256 right now. You can set it for 128 though. It depends on really what you're doing, but if I'm using a lot of plugins and stuff, 256 might be a little bit better. General stuff here, there's nothing really in here. Sampler, no. Editing, I/O assignments. If you want to set some stuff up here, you can go ahead and rename things in here too. You can see you got balance extensions here. And then MP3 stuff, these settings are fine. I don't know if I changed these or not, but these are the settings that you definitely want to use. And over here, recording, recording file type, WAV file. I may have changed that at some point. Just set that to WAV. Do not leave it at AIF. WAV is just more compatible across the board. 24-bit, yes. Cycle off, cycle on, create take folders. You always want this stuff to create take folders. There you go. Recording project settings. Let's just see. Make sure we're good here. Yep, all that stuff looks good. Sweet. MIDI. MIDI stuff, you shouldn't have to change anything in here. Display. This kind of depends on how you like to see stuff. If you're used to seeing things differently, then you could change your display here. But really, I don't think you need to change much in here. Score mode. If you use score mode, you could change stuff in there. Movie, nothing really. Automation. Move track automation with regions. I guess ask is pretty good. It's always going to ask when you move stuff around though, which gets kind of annoying. So if you always wanted to do it or if you never wanted to do it, you can change that. Honestly, I wish they had that as like a button in here. They might actually have that as a button now. I'd have to check that out. Write volume automation for, leave all this stuff on. Learn message there is fine. There is a way to shortcut that. Control surfaces. No, I don't need to worry about that right now. My info, whatever, you can put your info in there. And advanced. They have some good options in here that are a bit different. For the most part, really what you want to make sure is that you have show advanced tools turned on and advanced editing. A lot of the stuff you really don't want to mess with though. This is really for like hardcore Logic people. The only one in here that you may want to mess with somewhat is audio here, but I would just leave that off. It used to be you want to turn a bunch of that stuff on. Nowadays you don't really, especially with this newest version of Logic. So that's your preferences. And so what I've done here is I got my snap turned off, and now because I have basically my marquee tool click zones turned on, I can go and I can select stuff here. And I can just get rid of stuff. And I can just do some basic quick editing here if I wanted to. You can just go in here and hit this and what is it, Command J to get rid of stuff. And you can see, whoops, that's my fade. There we go. Depending on where you mouse on the section, it's going to do some different stuff in here. So for example, if you can see here, let me just go ahead and make this a bit bigger here. If I mouse down here, it's my marquee tool. And what this means is basically I can just highlight and drag, and then I can click it to to select that part. It means I don't have to hit Command J to separate it or anything like that. I can also just hit delete on it to delete that part. See that, how that's working there? Just hit delete. I can just go through and get rid of some of these things here. I'm just going to go ahead and pull that out like that and just go through and quickly do some of this. Yeah, it's exactly like the Smart Tool. Yep. Yeah, making it just a quicker way to work. It is very similar to Pro Tools. Ableton Live also does the same thing without anything. It's just on by default like this. It's a much better way to work, and I'm just going to go ahead and quickly move these around like this, and delete. And same thing with this one here. Delete this. Let's see. Cool. Let me just grab some of these and get rid of these real quick. I'm just doing some quick edits here, just so not all my audio files are playing at the same time. Oops. Make sure I click and drag that down to get rid of it on multiple tracks. And you can see here all these are basically the same. So I can just go to the front like this and just edit these. And I'm just doing it to all three of these at the same time, because I know this audio is in here kind of, like some of the stuff is a little bit annoying to deal with in Logic, because it doesn't really have the strip silence like Pro Tools does. Or at least not that I know about. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But so I'm just going to go through and do it by hand real quick. And you can see that even doing it by hand doesn't take that long. You can just get in here and quickly get rid of some of the stuff. Go in here and separate these things out. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm going to go ahead and put these back into the right order in a second here as soon as I've edited these a little bit more. I just want to go through and grab these. Now, if I want to see these WAV files bigger, I can actually click that button right there and it makes the WAV files bigger. I'm just going to zoom up here like this. Yep, see that? I can just get rid of all these at the same time. Whoops. No last clicked parameter. Oh, that's interesting. And as you can see, I'm just doing really rough edits. I'm not really getting too deep into these. Just a little bit here. I'm not going to edit all these like chunks out between here. That they can stay there like that. So now we've got a rough edit of our song. These, whoops, let's go in here and get rid of this as well. Cool. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and put this in some kind of order here. Now, one thing you'll notice is that if I switch over here to my mix window here, the mix window does not allow, I'm going to just pull this up like this. The mix window does not allow me to move tracks around. It just allows me to select things. And that's why we have the arrangement view, or it used to be called the arrange window, but now I think it's just called the main window. And this is where you have to do all your track moving around. So if I want to move my guitars and stuff around, then I have to do it all in this window. I'm just going to make these names a little bit bigger here so I can see what's going on just real quick. And grab these, all the guitars down here. Let's put the vocals at the end first. All these vocals here, vocals, vocals, vocals. Yeah, I'm just going to put all these down here at the end and move my drums around. Now remember, and I know this, this takes a little bit of time, but as you can see, it doesn't take that much time. Especially once you've gotten pretty good with this stuff, you can move this stuff around real quick. And since I know what the order is that I'm going for, shakers and all that stuff that we talked about earlier, and all the stuff we applied to Pro Tools really works here, because we're really just talking about the order of things, right? The track order. So it doesn't really matter if we're talking about Pro Tools or Logic. A track order is a track order, and how you mix it around is the same for both. Okay, so we got these things here. Good. I just ordered up everything. It seems to be in a good order here. So now I can go to my window and Oh, wait. I think my colors are over here somewhere. So I'm going to go up here, and the other thing I'm going to do to set this up real quick is I'm going to right-click on my area up here, and I'm going to go to Customize Control Bar and Display. So I can customize all this, so I can get more stuff up here. And one of these, I think, is my color menu. I definitely want to have Capture Recording turned on. I do not need to have Replace turned on. I do not need to have a tuner. Solo button, don't need that. Count in, sure, click yes. Master volume, I guess if you want it. Let's see here. What else is here that I might want? List editors, Notepad, Apple Loops, browsers, yeah, good. Smart controls, sure. Mixer, editor, toolbar, quick help, library, okay. Let's see here. Auto input monitoring, software monitoring, set punch in, punch out. Nope, 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 nope. Move locators by cycle length. I don't really need that. Pause, no. Okay, so I can save this here, and this will just open up every time I open up a new session. And this is pretty good here, I guess. So I'm gonna hit OK. Oh, let's go over to here. Beats and Project Custom. What is my custom gonna show me? Okay, so for custom, I want my tempo, just all this stuff here. MIDI activity, that's a good thing to have. Performance meter, if you want to have that, sure. Locators left and right, yep. I mean, it's a lot of stuff in here, but I've got a pretty big monitor. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see this little button over here. I don't really want to see this. So if I have my screen all the way wide out like this, I'm not going to see it. You can see here there's nothing missing anymore. But if you have a smaller monitor, see what happens when I drag this in. That custom thing that I've got across the top is really going to kind of ruin my day here, because now I have to dig through menus, which I don't like to do. And I also see that my colors are not on here. And I can't remember exactly where my colors live. Then float, keyboard, view. Oh, show colors. Here we go. Under view, show colors. And now I've got my colors here. So I'm going to go ahead and color these up real quick. I want all my drums to be this kind of orange color that I like to have. Kind of like, I guess this one here is, yeah, this kind of orange color. My basses to be this dark red color. My vocals down here to be this green. I'll use different shades of green. Here's my verses. Use this green for the darker green. Yeah, let's get this nice rich green here. And then my bridge, get a slightly different green. And then my choruses, all these bad boys down here. Go over here to this green. So they're all green. They're all different shades of green. And my acoustic guitars, these are basically the same. These are going to be this kind of blue color. And then these solos down here will be a slightly different blue. Why did that not change anything though? Weird. Okay. Well, let's do them one by one. That's very odd. It doesn't want me to change those. Okay, well, whatever. Let's see if I can get back and change these again. Strange. I'm going to make it one that's easy to see. Just quickly do this. All right, there we go. I don't know why it's acting weird like that, but it was. That's okay. All right, so now I've got everything nice and color-coded. If I go over here to my other screen, they are not color-coded on here. Whatever, I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, so the way I'm switching between my two different screens, there's no command equals in here. And I'm going to close this up over here, just so I can see what y'all are saying to me. Pull this in a little bit more. Pull this over. There we go. Cool. Now I can see everything, all my tools and everything. I'm basically, what I'm doing here is I'm making this, I'm just organizing it how I want it to, and there's no window to switch, there's no command to switch between my two windows in Logic. So what I do is Command 2 pulls up my mixer window like this, and then I just close it out with Command W. So Command 2 and Command W switches between those two windows really well right there. Now what I'm going to do here is let's just go ahead and hit play. Okay, and we can see here that I need to go ahead and do some fixing on this because everything's a bit loud. And we can see over here I'm already clipping my stereo output right here. The stereo out is basically your master channel. As you can see, I didn't put this in here. It's already just in here in Logic, but it's only in this window here. Now if I want to see everything in my arrangement window so I can move things around, what I can do is I can right click on the track and I can go to, this one let me do it, show output track. Yeah, you click on show output track, and what it does is it puts it down here into your arrangement view. So now I could move it around wherever I want it to be. Well, in theory, it's not going to let me move that one around, I guess. But other tracks, if you want to move them around, you have to do it from inside this window here. Let me just make sure. Okay, cool. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and just turn all these down a little bit to minus, let's do -5 and see what that does. We're still clipping here, so let's turn down to -10 and start from -10 right here. So now we're no longer clipping here. And one of the things about Logic that you have to be aware of is that these are on a real strong curve here, these faders. So it looks like I'm really far down, but I'm not actually really far down. I'm only at -10. And on Pro Tools it looks a lot different. On Logic it looks a lot different. Oh, I don't have Logic routed into Twitch. Okay, cool, thank you very much. Let's get this. You know what, you're absolutely right, because I don't use Logic that much. Let's see, sources plus Logic. Let's see if that crashes things. Right. You should be able to hear that now. Okay, cool. All right, so what we're going to do here is we are going to go ahead and mute a bunch of these. Now you can see it's really hard to read, and why are we not? Why don't we have our fancy colors going on? Kidding me? I have to do that again over here in this one. Oh, Logic. Logic, why are you making my life difficult? I just want to be able to see which ones are which. Bass guitar. That's a real pain. Yeah, this is my bass. Hold on, I'm just gonna go ahead and just color. I'm just gonna do broad strokes on these colors here. Not do all the fancy subcolors. Yep, okay. And these are all my vocals. Cool. I think the first three are, I am going to color these separately though. These four. And there might be a faster way to do this. Like I said, I don't use, I mean, I know Logic pretty well. I don't use it all the time, so I don't know all the intricate workings of it like I do with Pro Tools or Ableton Live. So there might be a few things that I'm there might be a few shortcuts that I haven't learned. Also, Logic has been changing a lot over the past few years. So when I did use Logic a lot, which was many years ago, I used to use it all the time. It was a very different program. All right, so I've got this in here. We've got our verses, and so we're just gonna go ahead and mute all these here. Let's go ahead and just highlight these. Boop, boop, boop. Mute them all. All right. And so I've got all these muted. So now we're just going to listen to our drums. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and loop this part of the song over here, just so I have a nice little loop going on, and I just click up here and drag across to make that loop, and it will automatically loop play, but if you don't want it to loop play or whatever, you can just turn the loop on right here. That's where your loop is right there. And they call it cycle in here. Okay. Cool. All right. So look at this now. One thing I do want to point out is this symbol. Where is it? This one here has a lot of low frequency energy in it. So I'm going to just pull that out with a high pass filter. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on my audio effects right here, and this is how we can put a insert like an effect in here. Go to my EQ. I'm just going to use the single band EQ, and you don't have to click all the way over on it. So if I'm putting a plugin in here, notice how it goes to channel EQ and it says stereo or dual mono. If you don't want to do dual mono, then you don't need to worry about it. You just click on the name of the plugin here and it will automatically do whatever you want to do. So we're going to put this low cut in here, and see how this one calls it low cut instead of high pass. That's what I was mentioning before. Different programs, different effects, different EQs and stuff do things differently. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down here. Now with this one here, you can't really see what it's doing. You just have to know what it's doing. You can hear what it's doing. It's got rid of that low frequency here. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Why are we starting over there? I must have a pre-rolled. Oh, I've got a. Where's my pre-roll? I'm not sure why we had this pre-roll turned on. That's super annoying. All right, so I've got this. You can hear it sounds a little bit better. Cool. Now, let's say I want to subgroup my drums together. I want to go ahead and subgroup my drums. So what I'll do is I'll highlight all my drums, these ones here, and I'm going to go output. And this is a very easy way to do this. Click on the output here and go to bus 1. In Logic, the buses are not labeled stereo. In Pro Tools, remember, it's like 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, like that. Well, in Logic, all these buses can be mono or stereo. So I'm just going to select bus 1, and it's automatically going to be a stereo bus. Where did it put it? It put the bus all the way over here at the end. I don't like to have my stuff set up like that. I like to have my buses right next to my tracks. So I'm going to take this one and drag it back over here. But you notice I can't just drag it back over here. Let me also give it a name. We're going to call this one drum group, like that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click on it and go create track. Okay, create track down here, and that is option T to create that track. I click on that, and now what it does is you see it just disappeared and it went way over here. Well, the reason why I did that was because it put it up here in my arrangement view, here, my main window, and I can just move it here, and now if I move it there, it's in the right place over here. So now we've got this, and I can mute my drums. So we start to get this kind of setting like we've been working with in Pro Tools. All right, same thing. I'm just going to go through and do all my tracks real quick. Let's do the bass, bus 2, boom, and these guitars. Oh my God, let's do the guitars. Let's see. The last ones are my solo guitars, and these ones here. So these go together. And these go together. And all those are going to go together. So let's go ahead and just name these real quick. Bass group. And this is guitar rhythm group. And this is guitar solo group. Boom. And I'm just going to take these and option T. I said option, oh no, sorry, control T, not option T, sorry, control T. There we go. So I Control T and my bass group, put my bass group right here on bass guitar. There we go. And put my guitar rhythm group right here. And my solo group will be down here. Awesome. And all my vocals, well, let's go ahead and do these as well. So these here. Now, if I want to do these a slightly different way, you can do it. You can click on the I here, and the I part will show you your info view over here on the left. And what you can do is you can highlight all your tracks and just go over here to where it says stereo out on the left and change that to a groove as well. But what's not going to happen is you're not going to have that track. It doesn't show up in the arrangement window automatically, so it's a little bit annoying. Verse group and bridge group. And this finally one is the chorus group. But you can see it's not hard to do. It works very much the same way as we do it in Pro Tools. And then I'm just going to make sure I put these into my session so I can move them around. So here's my verse group. Here's my bridge group. And I know these are all for my vocals, so I don't need to put the word vocal in there. There we go. So now we can just see these right here, and you can see the yellow ones here are my aux tracks. And now if I go back over to here, I can go ahead and unmute all those. And now if I wanted to, I just have to mute my groups here. I don't have to mute everything like that. All right, so we're hitting around -6. So I'm just gonna pull the drums back a little bit here. Let's get the bass going. Go ahead and put a compressor on that bass a little bit there. And I'm gonna cut out some the super low frequencies here. So I'm just gonna put this at, let's put that at like 30, 40 hertz. Let's get a compressor in here. And what I'll do is I'll just pull up a preset for this, because whatever. Let's go for, let's just see what these basses sound like. Now, one thing, when you are using presets with compressors, what you should do with presets on compressors is adjust the threshold knob. You're going to have to adjust the threshold or the input gain whenever you use your presets with compressors. It's not a bad idea to use presets with compressors, especially in the beginning or when you're trying things out and you just want to see what a compressor sounds like. Just flip through those presets. But what you want to make sure is you adjust the threshold here. The threshold is really the one you want to mess with, because when they make the presets, they do not know like what level of audio you're going to be putting through that compressor. They just have to make it. They have like some test audio that they have, and they just run the audio through the compressor. What they don't know is how loud or soft it is, and that's what your threshold determines, how hard you're hitting that compressor. So I don't want this compressor to be going down to -10, maybe more like around -5. So I'm going to turn the threshold up, and I'm going to just pull it down, because I want it to sound nice and natural. Let's check out the next preset. And you can hear that made it a lot louder because it's not as much of a ratio on there. Awesome. See, we don't really want it to be hitting all the time. We just want it to be hitting sometimes. Now this one over here, if you remember, we actually used a slightly different setup on this one. So what I just did was I just held down Option. I dragged my my EQ over, so it'll be basically the same EQ, but I'm going to make it a little bit higher up. We're going to put a different EQ in here. Drag my compressor over as well. So if I want to insert insert into here, a plugin, I just click on this bottom part down here, and it gives me my different plugins that I have options of. Now, I can still use any plugins that I have in here, so I can go to my audio units, I can go down here to Sound Toys, and we're going to use that micro shift that we used before. And these are just plugins that I have in my computer here. Let's go ahead and use Style 1, focus right around here. All right, let's pull our acoustic guitars up. If I wanted just a visual cue that these are just panned hard left and hard right, I can just do that here. It's a stereo file, but you can see there's nothing stereo really going on with it. Let's get a little bit more brightness on these guitars. Now I could just put an EQ on my group here to kind of affect all the guitars. I'm not going to do that though, because I like to have control over individual guitars, just in case when they recorded it something different happened with one or the other. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put my single EQ. We're going to cut out some of those low frequencies. I'll put that down about here. 200 hertz should be fine. I'm just going to drag that across everything. And this computer I'm on has plenty of power. Hey, what's going on there? I said, there you go. So I don't need to worry about using too many or too few processors in here. And then I'll put a little compressor in here as well. Let's see what that does. All right, cool. We can see that's working there. I'm going to put another EQ on here, and let's use a. Let's see what. It's not you. Let's see what we can use here. Let's get our meter out here so we can just make sure we're doing all right here with our processing. I'm going to use a UAD EQ, and let's use. Actually, no. Let's use the Native Instruments one. It comes with complete here. Solid EQ here. This is an EQ from the SSL. It's based on an SSL EQ. Now in here, if I want to use my preset, you notice that the presets are right here. I can't go to these presets here. These are presets for like if you're using Logic all the time and you want to get to your Logic presets, they're in here, very much like the Pro Tools presets. But a lot of these third-party companies, what they do is instead of making different preset setups for every single DAW, they just make their own little preset menu and they just use that. So that's what we've got here. Let's go to clean guitar. Let's use acoustic guitar. Boom, let's see what that sounds like there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and drag that across here, and let's solo these out. Now what I can do to solo just my group out is if I just want to hear my guitars, this is a thing that's really cool with Logic and Ableton Live that's different from Pro Tools, is I can go ahead and solo out my group like this just by clicking on the group. Cool. Sounding good so far. All right, so before we get any more of this going on, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and put the, wait, where did I put that? Did I not get that EQ in here? What happened? What happened? Is it just gone? It just disappeared. Thanks. That's awesome. Let's see if we can make that shinier. Let's try that again. Solid EQ. Acoustic guitar. There we go. Move you up here. Hold down Option, drag it across. Cool. All right. Now let's go ahead and put some reverb and stuff in here. What I'm going to do is let's get our drums. Let's solo out the drums again. So I'm just going to mute my bass and my guitars. Okay, the way we do aux sends in here, if you want send effects, is I'm going to go over here to my drum here. I'm just going to show you on this first one here. See where it says sends here? What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go down here to these, and I'm going to start with, we still have, we're good there. I'm just going to start with bus 11, just so it makes it easier on my eyes. I like to have my buses kind of grouped out in different ways, especially on here. You can rename these buses in here. I forget how it's done off the top of my head. There's a way to do it. I can't remember what it is right now, but in the meantime, I'm just going to do what I used to do in my old school way to do it was just put these groups in like groups of 10 or something like that. So bus 11 here is going to be for my send. Now, you'll notice that it created a bus 11 here, but my send is going to end up way over here again. We're going to call this one reverb drums. And actually, let's have all these people playing in the same room, and we'll put the vocalist in a slightly different room. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a basic reverb for all my instruments here. And so they're all kind of hanging out in the same room. So I'm just going to keep it over here at the end. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here and put a reverb in here. Reverb chroma verb. Let's use Space Designer. Space Designer is it's a convolution reverb hybrid thing. Convolution reverb is basically sampled reverb, so you can get reverbs from different places in the world and apply it in here. So we're just going to use a medium space. Let's use a small space. Let's use a small room. A small little live stage here. Let's just see what this does for us here. Now, there are some editing things you can do with this. You can do a lot of stuff after you've got it in here. You can change a whole bunch of things about it, which is quite cool, but I'm not going to mess with that right now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my drums going over here, and let's go ahead and just mute all those. Let's turn this up. There we go. Cool. Got all this stuff going on. Now what I can do is I can just drag this. Oh, can I just drag this over? Oh, maybe not. So let's go ahead and send this, all these drummy drums, to the bus 11 drum reverb. Boom, and now I can just go ahead and turn them up over here. Turn this off. Now, these claps here, I want to go ahead and group these. I'm going to subgroup these claps together. So what I'm going to do for this, I'm going to do this a slightly different way from how I did my other subgrouping because I want to show you all the options. I'm going to highlight both of these tracks and go to, where is it? Edit. I'm not even sure. We could create new. No, not you. Let's see if it's in the other window. It might not be. Some of these you can only get to them from one window or the other window. Functions. Edit. So basically what I'm going to do is I want to make these into a folder track. I just can't remember what the shortcut for that is. AJ says, can we use the plugins that we download for Pro Tools in Logic? Well, you can use any third-party plugins, but you cannot use the Pro Tools plugin. So if there's like a Pro Tools plugin, you cannot use that one. But if it's made by a third party, like Native Instruments, like you've seen me using it, then the answer is yes. Where is this? Hold on one second. Let's see. Sorry, I'm a bit folder. Here we go. Pack folder. Is that what it is? Well, it's a different folder. I do want the folder, but I just can't remember where it is in here. Unpacked new tracks, pack take folder. That's not what I want. Create track stack. Here it is. Create track stack right there. Click on this, and it's going to ask you what kind of track stack do you want to create. You're going to go to a summing stack. Now there are two types of stacks. Basically, the folder stack is just a folder. It's just for organization. It doesn't do anything to the audio. Then you have a summing stack, which actually sums the tracks together. It's like a group in Ableton Live or the group in Pro Tools, which we didn't really talk about too much, but you do have a similar thing in Pro Tools now. If you want to see the details, what it does, you can see the details here. Details a multi-purpose track stack that mixes its subtracks and can be saved as a patch. This type can also record and playback MIDI or remote control recording on audio-only subtracks. Select this option to both organize and submix your tracks. So in this case, with this clap, I want to go ahead and use this. So it gets me the sum here. I want to just give this a name, clap group, boom. Now, if I go over to my mix window, we can see it shows up in here. And this one here is going to go to bus 1, which is what we want it to do. And it automatically gave it its own little bus here, bus 8. And it says, where's that bus going to? So essentially what it's doing is it's just creating an aux track and then sending the audio to that aux track. Like exactly like what we just did ourselves. The only difference with this one and the other one is that in here I can fold this up like this, so it'll just show it to me like this. I actually like the way this works in Logic and Pro Tools better than I like the way that it works in Ableton Live. I don't love the way it works in Ableton Live because in Ableton Live it doesn't give you your regions like this one does. So it's actually a little bit easier to use in Logic. It's not something I don't recommend doing it this way, just because every software does it slightly differently. And if you're bouncing around between multiple pieces of software, you're gonna have to kind of wrap your head around how every piece of software does utilize these things. That's why I recommend doing it the other way that I showed you, the way we've been doing it in Pro Tools, is not because it's necessarily easier, but because it's more uniform across everything. And if you understand how to do it in Pro Tools the way I showed you initially, and you understand how to do it in Logic, Ableton Live, you can do it in all the DAWs. Plus, you can take that knowledge and move it over to your hardware. So the Audient, the SSL, the O2R, all these basically work the same way as the way I showed you to do it with Pro Tools. So if you do it that way, if you make an aux track and you route things to the aux track, you can just take that knowledge and apply it to different consoles, and you're already going to be good to go. You're already going to be comfortable doing it like that. So if you do it like this, Like consoles obviously don't have folder stacks and things like that, so you're going to have to like kind of wrap your head around how to do it differently. And every DAW calls it a different thing, but if you just do subgroup mixing, make an aux track, route the audio to that aux track, you're going to be good to go no matter what program you use. I can sit down in any program and mix comfortably as long as I know how to create some of these things. And I try to keep my everything uniform across the different DAWs. So that's why I do it, but we'll just keep this one here for this. And what we're going to do is route this one here to take these off of bus 11. I'm going to turn that off. Wait, can I? No send here. I'm just going to get rid of these here for my claps. I'm going to put it on here to the clap group. There we go. And you're good to go as well. Cool. You can hear it just gives it a little bit more of the room. And you can hear how it just kind of widens things out a little bit. Nice. Sweet. Now we got our bass over here. Let's get our guitars in here. And what I'll do for the guitars is I'll just bring them in as a group because they're basically doing the same thing. So I don't really need to have these all separated out. All plugins are basically the same. AJ's asking, do some plugins work better in certain DAWs than others? The answer is no. Really what you're going to hear a difference in is the general mix is going to be a little bit different because the engine is different, and some people prefer a Pro Tools mix, some people prefer a Logic mix, some people prefer an Ableton mix, or once you've got third-party plugins working in your favor, you can kind of unify it across all the different DAWs. Out of the box, however, things will sound a bit different from each one because you have different plugins that come with it. People tend to like the Logic sound directly out of the box, and that's just your preference. I'm going to go ahead and save this project. I didn't save it yet. Copy the files into your project. Okay, so check this out here. This is like a little save here. Where am I going to save it? First of all, I'm not going to save it into the Logic folder. I am going to save it into my teaching folder. Okay, the Rubadoo stems here. Let's put it in here, but not there. Let's put it into just Rubadoo, and we're going to name it as Rubadoo Logic. Now, in here, a couple of options. One, organize my project as a package, as a folder. Generally, you want it to do folder. It'll be very similar to Pro Tools. You might want it to copy your audio files over. It depends on if you need it to save things every time. In this case, I do not want to copy my audio files because I don't need multiple copies of these stems hanging out on my hard drive. Nothing else needs to be copied over, so we're good there. I'm not using Alchemy, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that on. So we got this, and yeah, we should be good. Hit save. As long as I don't move stuff around later, we'll be good. All right, so now my acoustic guitars. I'm just going to go ahead and get my acoustic guitars sending out from the bus because they're all basically the same here. There's not a whole bunch of different things happening with my acoustic guitars, so I'm just going to send these over to my reverb. Awesome. So that sounded pretty good there. Now let's go ahead and let's deal with the vocals here for a bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull it back. Oops. wrong button. Go ahead and pull it back to the beginning over here. Turn off that by clicking on it. There we go. Oops, that's the wrong, hold on. One second, I just put that on the wrong thing because I wasn't paying attention to my colors. I want the single EQ to be for the vocal over here, and these EQs will be for my solo guitar here, because they're all basically the same. And same thing with the compression. I'll go ahead and mess with that a little bit later. And the same thing with the EQ. I'm just going to drag it over here just so I have a placeholder here for these. Now, one thing I am going to do before I keep going is I'm going to go ahead and make a subgroup for my instruments here. And the way I do that is I just highlight all my instrument tracks. That's all my instrument tracks, yep. And I just highlight them all by holding down Command and go to Stereo Out, go to my bus and go to bus 9. And then bus 9 is going to be made over here. And we're going to call this one instrument group, like that. And then all my vocals, verse group, bridge group, chorus group, all of these are going to go to bus 10. And this is my vocal group. Let's just see what this reverb here is doing. Hold on, this reverb, yeah, it's on 11. Okay, cool, yep. So we're good there. And, yep, so all my instruments are going over here. So if I want to adjust the level between my instruments and my vocals, I can. I think I still have space to turn these up a little bit though. So let's just go over here to my, in here. So I'm just going to pull those up. Why are these all? Oh, because my reverb, hold on a second, my reverb needs to go into here as well. It's like, why am I hearing that? I shouldn't be hearing that. Okay, so here's my instrument group. There we go. I know the vocals are buried. Don't worry, we're going to fix that right now. Hear how clear they are now? Oh my gosh. Oh, there's just, let's hear what's going on with this. Let's see, can we make that bigger? No, okay. Let's see, this is a Vox 1. Let's see, what are each one doing? Which one's our main vocal? I want to put the main vocal in the middle. Oh, that's because we're, hold on a second. Go back over to here. And we're going to drag that across there. There we go. Embrace me like skin across your bone, like skin across your bone. Where's my vocal? Saw the summer sun rising without you. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to keep these like this. And what I'm going to do, I want to see your eyes staring back at me. Cool. All the lives we're living in between. Sweet. Sounds good there. So these here, I've got like a nice little rough mix of these like this, but let's go ahead and put some compression on them first so we have a nice little rough thing we can do. Why did that happen? There we go. And as you can see, I'm just using presets for now just to keep things a bit simple. Let's go to the classic rock. Ooh, classic rock, there we go. As long as we're not hitting too hard, that's fine. Like skin across your bone, saw the summer sun rising without you. Great, and let's put a little reverb on here as well. And we're gonna get the reverb, not quite as big of a reverb, we're gonna make a closer reverb. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna grab all three of these. Let's get our verse. Let's do the, I'm just gonna do the reverbs as a group for now, just to kind of make my life a little bit easier, so we're not like putting a whole bunch of stuff in here. So we're gonna go down here, we're gonna call this one over here, bus 12. We're gonna pull bus 12 over here. And the bus 12 is going to be our reverb vocals. Whoops, why are we caps? There we go, boom. And now I want to move this over here so it can be with my, I don't want it to be on the other side of this, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and make a track. Let's make tracks for all these. Here, Control T. And now you can see they put them in here in all sorts of weird places. And this is one of the things I really am not a huge fan of, that it kind of does all this stuff, but that's okay. We're gonna just grab all these here and move these down here to the end, just making sure. There we go. And I'm just gonna put this reverb vocal inside my reverb group. This is reverb, not drums. So let's rename this reverb instruments. There we go. Oops. And I'll just put these right here. So I'm just organizing these so I can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to put these on this side here, so right next to my vocals and right next to the, oh wait, in here, boom. Vocals group, vocal group, reverb instruments, instrument group. Okay, cool. And now let's send that reverb vocal into my, make sure we're going into the right place here. Stereo out, bus 12, bus, vocal group is bus 10. And if you're following along, that means you're doing pretty good at this point. If you're lost, that's still okay, because you still have another 6 weeks to get it. But basically, I'm just routing the audio through it. Exactly what we did in Pro Tools, nothing has changed. All the stuff we've been doing up to this point is exactly the same, it just looks different. If you understand about routing and stuff like that, all you have to do is figure out how to do the routing in different programs. It's all basically the same. And the reason why I teach Pro Tools the way I teach it is so that you can actually see how to do it in Logic and Pro Tools. They're very similar. And then Ableton Live, it's a bit different, but not completely out in left field. All right.
Wanna feel your word.
Great.
Embrace me like skin
Put
across
that space verb over there.
like skin across your
Let's get a different small space. Let's get a plate.
rising without you.
Short, clear vocals, and let's send some stuff over to it. Let's hear what this sounds like.
I wanna see your eyes staring back at me.
Great.
All the lives we're living in between.
Sounds good. So I'm going to go ahead and turn everything else back on now. Bring these instruments up. Now watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take these instruments, I'm going to bring them back up into my, over here. We're going to actually start right here.
Wanna feel your word. Embrace me.
Let's push those vocals a bit more.
Across your bone, like skin across your bone. Saw the summer sun rising without you.
And we're keeping an eye on our master over here.
I wanna see your eyes staring back at me. All the lives we're living in between. Following ourselves, following our hearts. Wanna feel your word. Embrace me like skin across your bone.
Good. All right, that's getting better. Let's go over to the, let's go to this chorus down here. Let's listen to the chorus here a little bit.
Faith, faith.
That was weird. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the same plugins on all these vocal tracks and just drag and drop is all you can do. Hold down Option and drag them on over. I'm gonna do the same thing with these. I'm not, you really do want to pay a little bit more attention to it than what I'm doing right now, because I'm not 100% sure about the recording on these, and you want to do it more case by case, but it's a good place to start, is just kind of doing this. And since we're just doing a rough mix, I've got this here and we're good to go on this. And we're going to do the same thing with the chorus that we did with the verse, and same thing with the bridge as well. I'm not going to go ahead and do each one of these individual, although if I was doing this for real, I would do every one individual, but I'm just going to go ahead and do bus 12 on this one as well. Bus 12 here on the group for all these here, and this one, same thing. The chorus group here is going to be bus 12. So it's just sending everything, everything over to bus 12 there for my reverbs. Now, and all of these here may want to get turned up. So what we're going to do is we're going to start. Why are you being all weird? Why are you starting over there? Nobody wants to start over there.
Walking up that mountainside, you said you are the one I will follow. And I've seen your face 1,000 times, but now I see what I could not before. So much more.
So AJ says, couldn't we just put the effects on the subgroup vocal channel? No, you cannot, because we need to affect these individually, because he's singing differently on every single track. Remember how I talked about this before? If you have a hamburger and you want that meat to taste special, you're not just going to put seasonings on the whole entire burger, you're going to put seasonings on the meat, right? So in this case here, these vocals need to be treated individually. They're all individual takes. If I just like put effect on the group track, then all those vocals are going into that group track. It's not going to affect them individually. It's not making each one sound pretty on its own. We want them all to sound pretty, because every single piece of audio that you have in here is its own pretty little angel, and you need to treat it as such, all right? Don't take away the angelness of any one part, okay, AJ? Let them all be special and unique. All right, these two here. All right, does that answer your question? Let them all be their own pretty little butterflies. So these two here, oops. All right, we got this in here. And
Walking up that mountainside, you said you are the one I will follow. And I've seen your face 1,000 times, but now I see what I could not before. So much more. Walking up that mountainside, you said you are the one I will follow. And I've seen your face 1,000 times, but now I see.
all right, so these ones here, let's just see what's happening with these here. Where are we? Oh, you're doing weird stuff again. Logic. Okay, so we got these soloed out.
Mountainside,
Yeah, I like this low voice down here.
up that mountainside,
Let's go ahead and just solo this bad boy. Oh, why are you starting over there?
walking up that mountainside at dawn. Walking up that mountainside at dawn.
cool.
Walking up that mountainside at dawn.
There we go. Push it up a little bit here. I just want to hear it.
Walking up that mountainside at dawn. You said.
Sweet. Yeah, I like the way it sounds. So let's hear it a little bit, right? Like kind of that gives it a nice little.
Walking up that mountainside at dawn. You said you are the one I will follow. Walking up that mountainside at dawn. You said you are the one I will follow.
Sounding good. All right, let's go over to the bridge here at the end. And go in here to this. Where are we? There we are. Whoa, guitars. Oh, you guitars, y'all behave. What are you doing? Getting all crazy up in here. Let's take, I think there was, I don't remember how these guitars were set up. Let's see. Hold on. I'm just going to pay attention to them real quick because they were, yeah, guitars! Okay, here's the lead one. So I'm going to move this, wait. I'm going to move this one over here. So lead double harmony. Yeah. All right. Pull this back over here. Get that guitars. Where's our guitars? There's these here. So we're going to go ahead and move these stereo left and right over here. And then this stuff. Good.
Do your worst and I will bear it. I will bear it all. Just for you. Do your worst and I will bear it. I will bear it all. 'Cause the love is strong. No one loves not gone. It's still right. Do your worst and
All right, so a couple things. Oops. Couple things. We need to split up this guitar. This bass part here is doing some stuff. I remember the shortcut for this, just so you know, is Command and arrow keys left and right. Let's just go ahead and listen to this for a second, because I remember there were some things in here. Okay, yeah. That's all. Yeah. Yep. That's that. Okay, that there. Yeah. Those parts there are not part of the other stuff that this person is playing, whatever is happening here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to zoom in. Hey, whoa, 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 stop it. Go back over here, let's see. Yep, so we're going to go ahead and let's cut right here. That's a good place to cut. And we're going to put this on its own track. Duplicate track button. Not new track. Wait. Track. Duplicate. Is that a Command D thing? No, kind of a Command D thing. I'm just going to grab this, move it down here. Let's put this back into snap mode real quick so I can just drag it down. And this stuff here, move you down as well and keep you there. I think that should be good. Let's take off this single EQ, drop it down a little bit lower. And we don't need the micro shift on that one and the EQ. I think we'll turn that off as well. I'm gonna keep them on the track just in case, but yeah. Yeah, there's that. And you can hear this like he's like sliding around. Whoops. Whoops, 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 whoops. There we go. Sorry, I'm using Pro Tools shortcuts, and Logic does not work well. All right, so that sounds pretty good there. Let's listen to it with everything else. Whoa, hey. Come on, over here. All right. Cool. All right, so I think it's a pretty good basic mix of this track. Let's just make sure that we are seeing things. Everything looks pretty good. All right, back it up here so we can see everything. Let's just kind of, I'm gonna make these a little bit smaller so we can see all the stuff on the screen. Let's just check a couple various parts.
Like skin across your bone, like skin across your bone. Saw the summer sun rising without you.
To play the cowbells in.
I wanna see your eyes staring back at me. All the lives we're living in between. Following ourselves, following our hearts. Walking up that mountainside at dawn. You said you are the one I will follow. And I've seen your face.
All right, so let me just explain what is happening over here. AJ, we're gonna get to that cowbell in just a moment. Let me just explain what's happening over here on the left side of my screen. Over here, what you've got is you've got your track that you've got clicked on here. In this case, I got these two tracks clicked on, or this one, I can click on them separately, and you can see that there are these tracks here. But if I wanna make sure that I'm grabbing both of them at the same time and moving them around, we have to go ahead and grab them over here. So let's just move this one around, unless there's like some shortcut that I'm not holding down. And then what happens is this track here, it's showing me where that track is going. So the one on the left is the track I have selected, and the one on the right is the track where that one is feeding into. So if I click on the clap group here, it shows me my clap group is here, and it shows me my drum group on the right. If I click on my drum group here, it shows me my drum group on the left and my instrument group on the right. And if I click on my instrument group, it shows me my instrument group on the left and my stereo out on the right. So whatever track we're feeding into is what it shows me on the right-hand side here. So for example, if I wanted to check out my my drums and where they're going as far as the buses go, how much I'm setting to the reverb, well, if I just click on the track, it's just going to show me the drum group here. But if I click on my reverb here, it'll show me my reverb instrument over here. So it's showing me whatever I've clicked on the left is showing me what it's going to on the right. Unless I don't have anything clicked, then it's just showing me the output of that track on the right. You get used to it after a while, how that works. This is just a quick little thing that you can see what's going on over here. I actually don't keep it open most of the time. I like to look at my my mix window over here. If you have two windows, like I know AJ, you have two windows, so your mix and edit windows on two separate screens, and you just kind of go back and forth between them. I only have one monitor. What's the same window? Sorry, monitor. So I can't do it like that here. But when I have cases where I do have two separate monitors, I do like to set it up like that. All right, let's go ahead and let's add in this cowbell that AJ wants so bad. We're going to add it in with MIDI. So we're going to go over here. We're going to make a new track. New track, click on New, Software Instrument. Empty channel strip is what I like to have set up here. Output 1 and 2. Let's go ahead and set that to go to our drum group. See how I have everything labeled here? It just shows me what it is. If this just said aux 1, aux 2, aux 3, aux 4, I wouldn't know where I'm going with things. So that's why we label stuff. So I'm going to go into my drum group here. Great. There we go. There's my instrument. And I'm going to go ahead and let's make all these a bit bigger. Make this one nice and big. Hit my I button so I can go ahead, and on here I'm going to grab my instrument that I want, and we will use I'm going to go ahead and use Native Instruments. Let's see if Native Instruments has just a whole bunch of cowbells for us. Shall we? Let's see what battery's got an offer for us. I got a battery. Don't worry, put my pants on one leg at a time. All right, let's see. Cowbell. Cowbell? Anything in here? No, nothing in there. How about samples? Hey. Oh yeah. Look at this. Look at all these cowbells. Oh my gosh. You must be so excited about this. Oh yeah. What? Oh, yeah. Let's go with here. Let's go with this one here. Drag that in here. Now let's see where that one is located on my keyboard. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. What other cowbells we got? That's not a cowbell. That's not bad. Whoops. There we go. Let's go down here. Oh, that's a cowbell. All right, I think I'm going to go with this one here. I'm just going to delete these out of here. Wait, can I delete you out? Delete, replace, delete. Sure. Delete cell. It's probably deleting a lot more stuff. Oh no, it's okay. There we go. I'm just going to use this one. I like this one. It fits with this song. So we're just going to go in here and we are going to hit record. Wait, whoa. I do not want my metronome on. Metronome settings for now. Well, here we'll do this. We'll just turn it off when it turns on, because that's going to be super annoying.
Walking up that mountainside, Tom, you said you were the one I would follow.
think I missed one in the beginning here. All right, there we go. Take these and glue these together. Hit T for my tools. Pull up my glue tool here. Grab them like that. There we go. Boom. Cool. So now let's listen to this.
Walking up that mountainside, you said you were the one I will follow.
Well, if we want to get fancy, since you guys are so into this whole cowbell idea, let's do this. Let's put the, let's rename this first cowbell. There we go. And let's make sure the cowbell's, we gotta make sure the cowbell's going to our reverb. And put that there. I don't hold down Option and click it to put it up to its default setting. And let's put a little Pan Man on here, the one that I told you all to get. If you saw my email, Sound Toys, Pan Man, $29. Bada bing, bada boom. This thing is great. Basic panning. Let's do pendulum pan. There we go.
And I've seen your face 1,000 times, but now I see what I cannot before. So much more.
All right, there we go. So we got that. Now, let's say, for example, that lower everything and raise the cowbell. Let's keep it under control there, AJ. You behave. So let's do this. Let's get our window back up, show colors. Let's go ahead and make this the right color. Good. Let's go to the other side of our hair. Make it the right color. There we go. Awesome. So now what I want to do is we're going to take this cowbell here. Let's make that, wait. No. So I'm not going to correct my bad timing. The bad timing is in there. I'm sorry. It's just going to be bad timing. I do want to rename this clip though. What I can do is if I name my track, I can right click on it and I can go to, where is it? Is it in here? Rename track, assign track icon, track colors, track blah, 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 blah. Wait, where is it? Functions, rename region cell. Okay, this one here. Rename, name region cells by track name. This is awesome. I love this. So I click on that and now it's called my region cowbell. So I've got that in there. If I want to edit this, I just double click it and it opens it up and now we can edit it in here. I don't have any, I can't just quantize it though because this song is not set to the right tempo. They didn't play it with a click track, so it's just right there. Bad timing with a cowbell. Great. I'm glad we're okay with this. The next thing I want to do with this cowbell is, wait, what was it? Oh, I can't remember. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's put some automation in this cowbell. Let's use automation to do the. Oh, I remember what it was. I want to show you how I can change this cowbell into audio. It's super easy. I just click on the region I want to do it. I right click on it and I go to bounce and join, and I go to bounce in place, which is Control B. So bounce in place. Now it asks me, how do I want to do this? Let's put it on a new track. See how it names it here? Bounce in place, BIP, BIP, bounce in place. The source, what do I want to do? I want to mute it. I want to bypass my effects plugins. I don't want any effects plugins. Include the audio tail, include volume and panel automation. No, I do not. So let's go ahead and do this real quick though. Let's put some automation in here. So I hit the A key and it brings me into my automation. And now over here it shows me what I'm automating. I'm going to do a relative volume here. How do I do that? Volume, main. Okay, here we go. If I go to main, absolute relative, I do not want to do my absolute volume. I want to do my relative volume. So in case if I want to lower or raise the track again later on, and I'm just going to go in here. And remember in Pro Tools we added that trim tool into stuff. Well, in Logic we don't have to. We just use relative volume here. And the relative volume you see has a little plus or minus. That means later on if I grab my fader and I move it up and down, it's not going to affect my volume automation. It's still going to get louder and softer. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a little We're going to click here to put a mark right there. We're going to come and pull down here, pull that down like that, and we can use the curve tool, automation curve tool here, and give it a curve. There we go, like that. Let's listen to that.
Walking up that mountainside at dawn, you said you were the one I will follow.
So if we want to put one in here, pointer tool, we're just going to drag it down again, put a dot there. We're going to put a dot here where we're going to end up at. We're going to just drag it, oops, click, put the dot, and then drag it down. Hey, you get out of here. Nobody wants you. Okay, oops. There we go, move that around. Okay, get my curve tool back in here. And if you learn these shortcuts, I don't really know these shortcuts that well, but if you learn these shortcuts, I can just hit T to bring up my shortcut menu and then W to do it. Now, if I want to, what I can do is up here, see how it's got my pointer tool on the left and my command click tool here on the right? I can go ahead, and since I'm just doing a whole bunch of automation curves, I'll just put that on the right. So what happens is if I hold down my command key, it's going to automatically go to my curve right there. So let's just go in on this a little bit here. Zoom in. Let's move this one over to the left. Move this one down here like that, because I just want to grab these, and every now and then I want to do a little fade up on it. And we're going to put this in here and put one there. Click and drag it down. Cool. Command click to get my curve tool in there. And so this is really nice because you're going to easily get to that tool you want in there. So we're going to go over here to this one here. Boom. Let's put a boom, boom. And you start to, it's a little bit different working with automation in Logic than it is in Pro Tools. The way it works is slightly different, but you do get used to it after a while. Now we're talking the curvy cowbell. Yeah. There we go. I'm gonna bring this down, pull that up a little bit. Sweet. Cool. Now let's listen to it.
Walking up that mountainside at dawn, you said you were.
So now if I want to pull the cowbell up overall, just make it louder in general, I can just go over here, pull my cowbell up.
Walking up that mountainside at dawn, you said you were the one I.
Wait, hold on a second. Why is that? Was I not working with the correct volume? I thought I was. Main volume, relative, yeah. So let's go back into absolute volume. There we go. Oh, it's probably, yeah, there we go. So I just turn that up overall. There we go.
And I've seen your face 1,000 times, but now I see.
All right, I am over that cowbell already, guys. I'm sorry, but I'm not into it. Not into it. So anyway, this is how we do it. So just to get to our automation, you can see all the lanes are here on it. Just to get to this automation, you just hit A, and it turns the automation on. Make sure you don't have any shortcuts assigned to A or anything like that, but then you'll be good once you get in there. And that's basically it. So finally, what we want to do is, let's go ahead and do a bounce at this one. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to go back to my mix window, and let's just throw a little, like a brick wall limiter on here, just so we have something going on here with this dynamics. And we'll put the limiter on here. So it's a basic limiter. And go in here. I'm sorry.
Walking up that mountain.
I'm going to turn my overall output down just so I don't blast y'all out here. But what you want to do, you want to get this up here a bit more. I'm just going to turn this down a lot so I'm not blasting y'all out. My release, I'm going to set that for around maybe 20 or so. Look ahead, 5 milliseconds. Look ahead. What this does is it'll kind of like find the drums, especially for dance music and stuff. That's a really good thing to have on there. output level, let's put the output level at minus 0.3, like that. So it's not quite at 0. Now you see here we're hitting this reduction here. So we're pulling it up, and we're pulling it up quite a bit. It's like this is a rough mix, so you really want it to be not having to pull it up quite this much. You really want it to be peaking out more, a little bit higher than what I've got it peaking out right now. But
And I've seen your face 1,000 times, but now I see what I cannot before. So much more.
all right, so let's go back and bounce this in place. I just realized I was kind of in the middle of doing that. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to go bounce in place to this MIDI track. We're going to not include the volume and pan automation, because what that's going to do is it's going to make sure that the volume and pan automation is still in the track, so we can go back and fix it later. Set to new track, set to mute the original track, so it's still going to be there. Do not bypass the effects plugins. Include the tail, yes. Include the tail in the region, yes. Hit OK. And now what it does is it turns that into audio, boom, and now you can see we've got our audio in here. Oh wait, let's do this slightly differently. Undo that, right click, and let's do the bypass the effects plugins. You want to bypass those so that it keeps the effects on the track. Good, okay, let's do that one more time. Boop. Now we can see it did not add that pan man in there. The pan man is still on the track. Awesome, all of our automation is still on the track. There we go. And now this one here is no longer a thing. So I'm going to actually right click. I'm going to track header components. I'm going to put my on off switch on the track here so I can just turn it off. There we go. Nice. Oh, let me put the hide switch on as well so we can hide the tracks. Now, I'm not a fan of how Logic does hiding. Where are you? Track. Oh, wait, here we can do it by hitting H. There we go, H. Cool. But it works okay. It's not quite as fast as using Pro Tools for that stuff, but it does work. I hit the wrong thing. There we go, this one, there we go. So now we don't have to see that cowbell track at all. So we can still hear it.
Walking up that mountain.
Sounds the same, all right.
Wonder why'd you wake up every day for the rest of your life. Burning hole my heart just can't contain. 'Cause everything you are is everything I.
All right, we could push it harder, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna put this back to 0. I'm not gonna hit play again because that would make us really, actually, you know what I do need to, hold on. I need to do one more thing before we bounce it out, and that is set the end point of the song. And I can just like go over here, and the end point is actually in the right place here. So I'm just gonna keep that there. Over here, you wanna make sure that you set this end point. You gotta go all the way to the right and set the end point there. And what that does is it's gonna set where you're actually gonna end everything in the song. So this should be fine. Cool, yes, good. Let's bounce it out. So I'm going to go to File. Oops, let's make sure we turn that back up. So it's nice and loud. We are going to go to File, Bounce, Project or Section, which is Command B. Yeah, that's what we want to do. So I'm just making sure they didn't add anything weird new thing in here. So PCM, we want to do a WAV file, resolution 24-bit, 44.1, interleaved, offline, normalize. We don't need to use normalize, include audio tail. It should be in there anyway. It's going to tell us how long it's going to take. Free 12 megabytes. That does not sound right. Oh, wait, is this not right here? I see. Hold on a second. This is... Why? Why? It's not bouncing the whole thing. Let's just see what that does. Hold on, Command B. Oh, that's because I had that. Okay, there we go. The whole thing, 70 megabytes. Yeah, it's because I had that region selected, so it just was trying to bounce that one region. That's not what I wanted to do, so that's a good thing I checked that. Wave, 24-bit, 44.1, dithering, no. File interleaved, yes. Awesome. Hit OK. Bounces, logic mix. And if you want to put the date in there as well, 0831, hit bounce, and it bounces it out. And then we can open it up in Pro Tools or whatever you want to do. So let that bounce it out. And then we should be good to go on it. It should show us in here, in our folder. Where's our Logic project? Logic is right there. Bounces. There it is. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. We're good to go. All right. And that's basically the only thing that you'd need to do more for your project if you were turning this into me like this would be to do one more MIDI track and just make sure you bounce it down. And then we'd be good to go. I mean, it's really, you know, I just did it all in about an hour and a half or so. And that was with me talking to you. So, you know, it's not harder or easier necessarily in Logic. It's the same as in Pro Tools. I find Pro Tools a little bit quicker, but not much. And that's mostly just because I don't really use Logic as much as I did before. But in general, I do like the layout of Pro Tools a bit more. But you can make a really good mix in Logic as well. Of course, people do it all the time. A lot of stuff gets mixed in Logic. A lot of stuff gets recorded in Logic. So my point is that when you're done working with Pro Tools and you're done with SAE, if you want Logic and you want to go back to Logic, then do it. Go back to Logic. But just make sure you keep your Pro Tools chops up, because Pro Tools is still like the industry standard. It's used all the time in the industry.